What is Rotary? We're a network of people like you. In fact, we're the original social network. More than 1 million of us live just about everywhere you can think of. And we mean everywhere. We get together to exchange ideas, grow our businesses, and make new friends. We volunteer to help our own communities or someone else's. We're right around the corner. Come join us. The name is Rotary. Rotary International. You're welcome.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa, where a bunch of good people do great things in our city and around the country and internationally. So how about that weather, guys? Do you like that? Well, I'm going to ask you, make a call to all your friends that have been hiding in the air conditioning or hiding in Colorado and welcome them back to our club. We'd love to see them. So it's great that we're here. It's fall season weather coming. So there's a little Christmas in the air and crispness and excitement. And we're looking forward to getting into this cooler weather and the programs to come. So with that, let's get started this morning. I'd like to invite up Reverend Jessica Moffitt for our invocation, along with Carl Vincent for Song and Pledge, and our visitor introductions by Michael Turner. Reverend Moffitt.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's good to be with you today. And I am the senior pastor of this church, First United Methodist Church here in Tulsa. This is my 8th week. So I am well down the road. I will say that I served this church for 12 years as an associate pastor prior to this. And I will also tell you that I am a Rotarian. I don't know if you remember, but this is the club that helped me as the founding president of the Bixby Rotary Club get started about 15 years ago. Is there anybody in the room who remembers that? That was a great night. Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this day and for this time to come together for this great cause. We remember today that we are made in your image, and so that means that you have made us to be a generous people. You have made us to be a people of love, and as we know well, you have made us to be a people who serve. So be with us now in this hour. Let us honor you with our conversations and our presence and all that is happening. Thank you so much for this meal and the many ways in which you nourish us and we nourish others. In your name we pray. Amen.
I've never been so happy to see Tom Wolfe in my whole life. We're going to sing My Country, 'Tis of Thee. My Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Rotary. It's great to have everyone here on this beautiful August day when 90 degrees feels cool. That's pretty awesome. Today is a very special day for me personally and professionally. We've got 3 people from the community that I consider community leaders in many different aspects of that true term of leadership, and I have the utmost respect for them, so it's wonderful that they are all here today. And the second awesome thing for me, a true blessing, is my family, Lisa Turner, Megan Turner, and Madison Turner. Oh, Lisa's the Director of Development for the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. And, oh, she's my wife too. So it's, so if you guys would please stand up, and I'll stand because I'm the host Rotarian for you guys. And it's great to have them here today. Okay, so back on cue, I'll ask the guests to stand with our host Rotarian, and then we'll save our applause for the end. But that one was okay, so thank you very much. Kent Powers is here today. He's retired, as it says. Jeff Johnson and Joe Moore are the host Rotarians. If you guys would please stand. Good, thank you. Karen Gaddis, wife of Bill Gaddis, and an awesome usher at Boston Avenue United Methodist Church. Roger Ramsire with Cox Communications is hosted by Gordon Greer. Moses Echeverria with OCCJ, and his host Rotarian is Chuck Wilson. Moses, great to have you here. Joseph Ojang, Web Champs is the title, don't know what that is. Philip Viles is his host Rotarian. Good to have you here. Lucretia Pardinas, Business Relationship Church, and she is here with President John Raines. Sarah Fry, Gateway Foundation, hosted by Kathy Gurrell. Linda Johnston with Tulsa County, hosted by Karen Keith, Commissioner Keith. Good to have you here. And visiting Rotarians today, Cheryl Lovelady, Oklahoma City Club. Sure. Let's give a round of applause for all of our guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Our upcoming programs, a little sneak peek, August 24th, next week, Russ Doden with Oxley Nature Center. August the 31st, Rick Corey with KRMG. This should be very interesting, and it's his stories from the road, not necessarily a sports program, so it's just the funny things that happen. And September the 7th, we have Ken Busby. He's going to talk to us about the exciting future of Route 66, but we also have a surprise for you that week. So if you hear the rumble of large big block engines, follow that noise, and we'll have some reminiscing cars that would have run Route 66 about 40 years ago over in that parking area. So that should be quite fun. We want to also today thank our sponsors, Von Graham, Jack Mandeville, Dave Morgan, and Scott Selman from Rich and Cartmill. Thank you very much for your participation. We have one committee meeting today, and that's a Rotary Global and District Grants Committee, and I hope they're talking about the projects and programs that you need money for. So if you didn't know we had a committee to do that, they are meeting today, and if you have a project you'd like to have funding for, you might drop in. Now for our Sergeant of Arms, Catherine.
Hello, Rotarians and guests. I'm very excited today because we have some great slides. Okay, first up, I love it when Michael Turner has a find because it's usually about something his wonderful family's been doing. So the latest is they did a whitewater adaptive experience, kayak experience through Rendezvous Kayak School. And so, you know, what a great opportunity for the family to have a little vacation and do something fun. But Megan provided ongoing support and dedication to her sister. And I tell you, I think we should all give her a big round of applause. I know she was a big help on that trip. So thank you so much, Michael, for that. Next, Diane Peacock paid a fine in the name of our Linda Bradshaw. She said, you know, brilliant grandmother, brilliant granddaughter. They got great reviews on Captain Fantastic. But she did bring up a very good point. She said, you know, both of these ladies are an example of racking up accolades, and Linda continues to do wonderful contributions to Rotary, physical contributions. I mean, we were passing out stuff at IBA together, and, you know, step for step. And she's a shining example of women and what we can contribute. So thank you, Linda, from all of us for being such a nice, strong woman and a great example. And now Tom Klinda had a birthday. He gave a very generous donation for his birthday. But he also has another little surprise, and it's a grandson, his first grandson, third grandchild, so he has 2 granddaughters, and Grant Thomas Johnson. And look at that. Look at the look on Tom's face, everybody. How about that? I think he's got that whole coo, goo, goo thing all down. So happy birthday, Tom. Thank you so much. Tom's birthday was August 9th, and little Grant is the 28th. So we'll see what happens next year on Grant's birthday. So now, where is Mr. Ed Vierhiller? There he is. Guess what? Come on down, Ed. I need your help at the front because it's OSU ticket auction time. So, first game, September 3rd. I have the tickets. Yeah, that's a big responsibility, people carrying 50-yard line tickets around. I just like watch my purse like a hawk now. I never have any money, so it's the tickets I'm worried about. Ed, where do you want to do it? You gonna do it right there? Okay, everybody, get your money out. Get ready. Ed, if you haven't heard Ed do an auction, it's been a long time since we've had him do it here, but we're getting ready to go. So, Ed, start your engine. We have 2 tickets on the 50-yard line with free parking passes. The game is going to be September 3rd. OSU. We got a few. There you go. Well, it's OSU Day, so. Come on, guys, this is a great gift for a client. And the Knolls take you to lunch or breakfast. Come on, guys, keep going. We're not even at ticket value yet. Okay, thank you, everybody. There's my contact information. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Catherine. I'm sorry I stumbled on your intro there. Kathy was coming out of my mouth. I've got to get you ladies straight. I'm going to be in trouble. Of course, all the money that we raise through our fund finds and our auctions go to our community fund, and our community fund does work throughout the community through supplying grants and lets us put boots on the ground and really do fantastic works in our community. So thank you for your donations and thank you for the auction today. I'd like to now call up Phil Armstrong. He's going to do something that is so exciting I can't stand it, and that is to bring new members into our club. Phil?
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Please hold your applause while all new members and their sponsors have been introduced today. First of all, immediate past President Jeff Hassel has sponsored Joel Mattson. Joel Mattson's banking career includes Spirit Bank, F&M, and now Prosperity. He was graduated from the University of Oregon with a history degree and then his law degree from the University of Tulsa. Joel is legal counsel for Prosperity in Tulsa. He and his wife, Sarah, have 2 children, Alexander and Rowan. Little known fact about Joel, when he was 16, he visited his uncle in the Republic of Georgia at the crossroads of Asia and Europe. His uncle gave him a painting to take back home to the States for his mom. However, Georgia Customs pulled him aside and showed him paintings that had been stolen from the National Museum. They threatened to detain him. His uncle then said to the guards, "President Clinton would want you to allow this man to board this flight." So even to this day, no matter what one says about Clinton, Joel always says, well, at least President Clinton kept me from going to a post-Soviet prison for art smuggling. Next up is Stephanie Cameron, and she is sponsoring Monica Martin. Stephanie has been a Rotarian for only 3 years, but has been very, very active. And notably, she will be the chair for Tulsa Young Professionals in 2017. Thank you, Stephanie. Monica Martin is a Metro Christian grad, attended Whittier College in LA, and earned her psychology degree from Langston University. She and her husband, Chris, have 2 children, Connor, a sophomore at TCC, and Lauren, who is an ICU nurse at St. Francis. She is a member of Leadership Tulsa Class 54. Monica has worked with various nonprofits in Tulsa and is currently the Director of Development at the Tulsa Day Center for the Homeless. Little known fact about Monica, she's described by her friends as a celebrity magnet. Yes, it happens so frequently and in the most interesting of places, such as elevators, beaches, concerts. It's funny but true. All you have to do is ask her.
Is that the truth?
Right. And last but not least, we have past President Dale Dreyer, and he's sponsoring Jesse Guardiola. Dale is the co-chair for Club Foundation Development, and 2004-2005, he was the Rotarian of the Year. Thank you, Dale. As you may recall, Jesse Guardiola was a member of the panel that addressed our club on Hispanic affairs in our community earlier this year. Jesse has been responsible for Hispanic outreach and relations since 2009 and head recruiting officer since 2005 for the Tulsa Police Department. He received his criminal justice degree from New Mexico State University and was graduated summa cum laude at OSU with a master's in science in teaching, learning, and leadership. Jesse has truly been a leader in our community in so many ways. He has received numerous honors, but nothing means more than Officer of the Year in 2013 as part of the Above and Beyond Awards sponsored by the Rotary Club of Tulsa. Jesse and his wife Sarah have 2 children. Little known fact, Jesse was an all-state defensive tackle for the Ruidoso, New Mexico High School, weighing in at a strapping 160 pounds. And now, will you please give a warm Rotarian welcome to all of our new members.
Jesse, Monica, and Joel, welcome to the Rotary Club of Tulsa. With that pedigree of somewhat truths and somewhat stretches, we look for great things from you and our community and our club. Thank you again. We also want to thank Dale Assel for performing your new member orientation this morning. Now I'd like to introduce our Rotarian of the Day, Lindsay Sparks. Lindsay is an account director for True Sense Marketing. She joined our club in October of 2015 and has enjoyed being a part of our yearling service project, Class 1. Making friends and giving back to the community are what brought her and keep her in Rotary. A fun fact about Lindsay is one that happened on a trip to Ecuador, where she found herself sitting on the dirt floor sharing a meal with the locals. She was sent there by her company, and somewhere during the course of the meal found out that she was eating guinea pig. So for someone that has 2 guinea pigs as pets in my home, I'll have you over for dinner, but it won't be for that. Lindsay, thank you very much, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today. We've got a great group for me to introduce. So I'm going to start in the order that they'll be speaking today with Reverend Jeff Janes. He was born and raised in the Tulsa area. He and his wife, Adrienne, graduated from high school in Tulsa and grew up in the United Methodist Church. He received his bachelor's degree in government and theology from Georgetown University and his master's of divinity from Duke University. After graduating from Duke, Jeff was appointed to the Southern Hills United Methodist Church in Tulsa, where he served until June 2011, when he was appointed as the executive director of Restore Hope Ministries. Jeff has a passion for the Tulsa area and its people, especially those who are in need. Before answering the call to the ministry, Jeff worked in a variety of public service positions at the local and national levels. Jeff and Adrian are also the proud parents of Benjamin and William, who are sure to charm anyone they meet. They love to travel and are big fans of sports and the arts. Our next speaker today is Mr. Bill Major. He's the executive director of the Anne and Henry Zero Foundation, the Maxine and Jack Zero Family Foundation, and the Zero Families Foundation. In this role, he oversees all grant-making aspects of the Zero Family Foundations to fulfill the vision and mission statements and major strategic goals as defined by the Board of Trustees. Prior to this position, he was the CEO of Life Senior Services for more than 18 years. Life is the premier provider of home and community-based services for seniors in the Tulsa area. Concurrently, Bill was also the CEO of Vintage Housing, Inc., a nonprofit affiliate of Life, established in 1995 to develop affordable housing for low and moderate income seniors in the Tulsa region. Previously, Bill was the founder and executive director of the Community Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, developing the food bank from a dream of the community in 1981 to a reality through its first 9 years. Bill is an alumni of the Leadership Tulsa, Leadership Oklahoma, and currently serves as a board member of the Oklahoma Center for Community and Justice. Lastly, we have Ms. Karen Keith. She was elected County Commissioner for District 2 in November of 2008. She is focused on getting funding for the Tulsa and Sand Springs Levee, a new juvenile justice center, as well as the Gilcrease Expressway and Bridge. Karen is focused on cleaning up neighborhoods in the unincorporated parts of the county. There are ongoing efforts with dramatic results. Karen worked for 26 years in broadcasting, with 21 years at KJRH as an anchor reporter, as well as executive producer and host of Oklahoma Living. In 2002, Karen became the mayor's director of community relations and vision implementation. Following her service at City Hall, she worked for the Tulsa Metro Chamber of Commerce as the director of partnership development for the Tulsa Convention and Visitors Bureau. Karen is active in the Rotary Club of Tulsa and the Brookside Business Association. She has received numerous awards over the years for her professional and volunteer work. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you. We're starting with Jeff. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, for that great introduction. And if you have not yet met my sons, that's true that they will charm anyone that they meet. It is good to see so many friends here, those that I've known for a very long time and those that I don't yet know, and so I'm excited to get to know you. As Lindsay said, my name is Jeff Janes. I get to be the executive director for Restore Hope Ministries, and I'm proud to be the chair of a group called A Way Home for Tulsa. 23 different agencies from across our community that are working together to prevent and end homelessness in our community. Several of them are here today. Linda Johnston was introduced. Mac Altum from the Day Center is here. I know that Steve Whitaker from John 3:16 is a member of the Rotary. Those three agencies, Pam is back with Volunteers of America. We have the domestic violence intervention, 23 different agencies that are fighting everything from prevention, which is what we do at Restore Hope, all the way to housing at the Mental Health Association. We try to help those who are in deep need in our community find a way to move home. And that's what, you may have heard the language of Zero 2016. That's what Zero 2016 is ultimately all about. Now, it is a national project. Zero 2016 is a project of a group called Community Solutions. It's a group based out of New York that is trying to find ways to help communities across the country prevent and end homelessness for those who are in their community. We're one of 75 different communities, including Oklahoma City, Norman, and communities all across the country that are trying to work together to solve this problem, which is a very present problem, and it's not a new problem either. Homelessness is not something that is new to our community, and it is not something that you haven't seen in our community, but it is something that we can work toward a solution. We can find a way home for Tulsa, and we're trying to do that. Through Zero 2016, our original focus was on those who are veterans and those who are chronically homeless. There are two reasons for that.
that I often give. One is those who have served our country, those who have worn the uniform of our country, shouldn't be homeless. I think that's something that we can all agree to. They have served us. They have put on the uniform of our country, and we should take care of them. We should keep our promise to them because they kept their promise to us. Yeah, absolutely. So I think we have a moral imperative to help those who are veterans to not be homeless. Unfortunately, the numbers of veterans across our country that are homeless today are far too high. And in our own community, we knew that they were too high, and so we made that a focal point. It was also a focal point of the federal government. The United States Department of Veterans Affairs made that something that was important to them, and so that's why we wanted to focus on veterans. Those who are chronically homeless are those who have been homeless for a very long time and have a disability. You might call them the least of these, those who are among the most vulnerable in our community. These are people who you may have seen or may not have seen on the streets. These are people who have been homeless for a cumulative year and have something else in their life that is causing them or keeping them from successfully living in housing. These are people who are very regularly utilizing emergency services, very regularly utilizing the other public services that we have. Our police department sees them on a regular basis, the fire department, the downtown public safety ambassadors. These are folks who are the most vulnerable in our community, and we need to do something to help them. So we started to focus on housing those who are veterans and those who are chronically homeless. We said in a bold statement, when I first became the chair of Away Home for Tulsa, they asked me to do a press conference at the BOK Center, and they said, we want you to say that we're going to house 290 veterans by the end of this year and 95 people who are chronically homeless by the end of 2016. So that was last year. And I went for a run that day, and I will admit to you that I was very nervous about making that bold claim. Because to that point, and Matt can testify to this, as could Linda and others, we were housing people at a much lower rate. And to say that we would house 290 veterans and 95 people who were chronically homeless was an audacious claim. And yet that's what we said. And that's what we got to work on. Now I'll tell you the reason we focused on housing is one that is both statistically sound, but it is also efficient and effective. The approach that we have decided to take as a group, as Away Home for Tulsa, is an approach called Housing First. The idea behind Housing First is that if we can solve housing first, then we can help take some of the other issues off of their platters. If we can solve that one crucial issue of housing, then the other issues of mental illness or substance abuse or other needs can be solved at that point. Now, that's been tried in other communities with a great deal of success. That's the statistically proven side. 85% nationwide of those communities who have tried a housing first approach have succeeded. Those clients have succeeded 85% of the time. Now, that's not perfect, but it's a really good percentage. It's a really solid percentage, especially for those who are among the chronically homeless. The other thing is it's effective. We have found that the vast majority, even in our own community, of those who we have put into housing, even some of those who have had many other issues, have remained in housing. I think of Ed. Ed first stopped into the day center several years ago, and he would come in about once a year because of frostbite. When the conditions were too cold, he would come in to the day center, usually be there for a couple of nights, and then go back out into an encampment. One time, the frostbite was so extreme that he needed help. And thankfully, the good people at the day center nursed him back to health, helped him to take care of the severe frostbite. And at that point, they convinced Ed to not go back out onto the streets, but to move into housing. At that point, Restore Hope had a program called Rapid Rehousing that's now held at the Day Center and Salvation Army. And so the Day Center called us and said, "Can you help Ed?" We did. We helped Ed move into Hudson Villas, which is a project of the Day Center for the Homeless. And when you look at Ed's record in our homeless management information system, this data system that all of it goes into, when you look at Ed's record, the last time he was homeless was the day before we housed him at Hudson Villas. That was 3 years ago. Ed was an alcoholic. He now teaches 12-step programs at other community organizations in our community. Ed has a job there at Hudson Villas in the kitchen, and he's reconnected with his family that had been broken. That's why we're focusing on housing first. Absolutely. The other reason we're doing it is because it is efficient. Around the country, these folks who are among those who are chronically homeless are all those also the chronic users of our public systems. These chronically homeless people are cycling in and out of very expensive treatment systems, taxpayer funded on a large basis. When we move them into housing, that service usage drops. For people like Ed who have been connected to a job and to housing, they don't need to use emergency services or the other expensive taxpayer services that we provide. This is one case where the solution actually costs less than the problem. It is an expensive thing to rehouse somebody who is homeless, but it's far less expensive than having them continue to use those taxpayer services that we are happy to pay for to take care of them, but would much rather help them be in housing long term and be self-sufficient, or at least sufficient within our programs. I want to make a point about that, is that when we say housing first, we're not just giving them a key and saying good luck. It's not housing only. It's housing first. So what we do is we help people like Ed and others move into housing, and then we surround them with supports. Volunteers of America has a great payee services program that helps people pay their bills so that they don't become homeless again. Mental Health Association has mental health services that wrap around. The other members of our continuum take care of things like substance abuse needs and other things. It's not housing only. We're surrounding them with a team of people to help them be successful, and that's an important distinction. So why do we need to do this in Tulsa? Why did Tulsa sign on to be one of the 75 communities around the country that are a part of this initiative, this Zero 2016? For one thing, though homelessness is not new to Tulsa, it is growing. First-time homelessness is growing at an average of 5% every year. Last year, approximately 6,500 unique individuals connected with our homeless system at one point. 6,500 Tulsans that connected with our homeless system at some point. A one-night point-in-time survey that we went out on a cold night in January to try to find as many people as we could who were homeless. That survey showed that 118 individuals were chronically homeless in our community. 118 individuals who have been homeless for more than a year and have a disability or a disabling condition. In addition, we found 108 homeless individuals who self-identified to us as veterans. 108 people who have worn the uniform of our country and are homeless on the streets, at least that night. In addition, my friends at the shelters would want me to tell you that they're seeing record numbers at places like the Salvation Army and others, and our fine shelters that are here today. And so we know that there is a need. It's very present in our community. You have seen that need most likely. Although I will say that for the most part, these numbers that I'm sharing with you are not the people that you see. Homelessness, like hunger, another thing that Restore Hope fights, is a hidden problem more often than it's visible. According to a 2007 study done by the University of Tulsa, some professors there at the University of Tulsa, it costs Tulsa $8,000 more per year to support a chronically homeless individual than it does to provide them permanent supportive housing. It costs $8,000 more for them to remain homeless than it does for us to move them into housing. It seems like we need to focus on housing. In addition, in Tulsa, there are 76,870 people who live below the poverty level. That's a 19.7% rate of poverty in our community. And if you have any doubt about that, come see one of those folks that I've mentioned. We would love to show you what we do on a regular basis. And our staff at Restore Hope visited with the eviction court here in town and found that on average, about 1,200 eviction cases come before that court every single month. 1,200 families that are on the verge of homelessness every single month. I am happy to tell you that Restore Hope kept 645 of them from being homeless last year. So where are we now? I told you that our goal, the audacious goal that we set in June of 2015, was 290 veterans and 95 people who were chronically homeless, moving them into housing. I'm happy to tell you that we have surpassed, and on time, both of those numbers. It is good. Since we launched that program at the beginning of 2015, we have housed, and this is June's numbers, and I know that July's are even better than this, 416 veterans have been housed by Away Home for Tulsa. And 123 people who are chronically homeless, those who are the most vulnerable in our community, 123 of them have been moved into housing in that year and a half, and that's incredible. That's 539 people in our community that have been homeless that have been housed now. We're hoping, as Mac pointed out in a press conference several months ago, we're hoping to make those people chronically housed and no longer chronically homeless. In addition, that point-in-time survey that we did in January found that we have seen a decrease of Tulsa's veteran homeless population by more than 13%. So while we have 108 veterans who self-identified in that one night, that's 13% lower, and that trend line is going down, even while other trend lines are going up. And that's thanks to community leaders and the support we have with that. In addition, our agencies are collaborating better than ever before, and I hope my colleagues would attest to that. We're working together in new and effective ways like we never have. And we are housing people more efficiently as well. On an average, 150% more people are moving into housing every single month now, as opposed to the same time last year. 150% better housing rate than ever before, and that's important. In addition, Away Home for Tulsa has made many other strides, including adding more housing units, which is the answer. Housing is the answer to homelessness, so we need more housing for that. We've hired a housing resource coordinator to work with housing agencies to help people move into housing. And very importantly, we are now using what's called a by-name list. I've given you a lot of numbers today, but what's important to remember is that each of those numbers has a name. That each of those people who are homeless has a name and a story, a unique one. And so now when Mac and his team meet with Fresh Start, they're talking about specific people with specific stories and specific issues, and they're moving those specific names into housing, and that's an important distinction. The last thing that I would tell you is that while we're working hard at moving people into housing, unfortunately, because of the economy and other things, people are becoming homeless. That's part of our world, unfortunately. But what we're working toward as a coalition is to make homelessness overall rare. We don't want it to happen very often. Brief, we want their stay in our shelters to be very short as possible, and non-recurring. We don't want to see them again in a shelter. We want them to be like Ed, chronically housed. And so we're trying to make homelessness in our community rare, brief, and non-recurring so that we can truly find a way home for all of Tulsa. Thank you.
I'd like to add a few comments to what Jeff has talked to you about. First of all, I do want to point out that Tulsa is a leader in the nation in working to solve our community homelessness problems, and the collaboration between Away Home for Tulsa and the public and private investments in solving the homelessness problem does put us in one of the top communities in this country in terms of working on this issue. Individuals experiencing veteran or chronic homelessness are our neighbors and fellow Tulsans. We cannot continue to turn the other cheek or treat individuals experiencing homelessness like they are a nuisance in our community. Being homeless seems like a distant concept for the average person, but it isn't. Our economy has its ups and downs, and many families who experience poverty are on the edges and also close to experiencing homelessness. And those in our community who are chronically homeless ending up on the street, many times through no fault of their own, and certainly not by choice, but they get stuck, and in the past, I think the system has failed them. We have serious public policy shortcomings that exacerbate the lack of services for people experiencing homelessness. And one of the primary ones is the huge barriers to mental health services. Drug and alcohol issues are a major contributor to homelessness, and as the spiral tends towards job loss and then loss of housing. We are in a crisis in Oklahoma because of the lack of drug and alcohol treatment. The wait list to get these services today is over 1,000 people, and that includes teenagers. And without a treatment intervention for those addicted, many of those who have children, homelessness typically follows, and yet right now, even those who actively seek help, we don't help them. In 2015, Oklahoma provided help for mental health and substance abuse services for about 195,000 Oklahomans. Seems like a huge amount. But an estimated 700,000 to 950,000 adult Oklahomans are in need of services and can't get them. Yet even this year, we cut $23 million more out of the budget of the state mental health services organization. Expanding Medicaid would also go a long way towards helping the 200,000 Oklahomans currently without health insurance and therefore without any real access to mental health services. We also have huge barriers to housing in our community. As much as we've done, in the past, individuals experiencing homelessness often couldn't access housing because of either unaffordable rental costs for them, felony convictions, or past housing debts that didn't allow them to get back into housing. Federally subsidized housing, probably best known as Section 8 vouchers, are not available when needed because the wait time today is between 12 and 36 months. That's 1 to 3 years a person or a family has to wait to get these vouchers. Currently, about 3,000 to 3,500 households are waiting on that list to receive a Section 8 housing voucher and receive housing. Now, our community, primarily through private philanthropy, has increased the housing available to overcome these barriers by adding several hundred units to our housing stock specifically for these populations. But the need will continue to outstrip the demand without a serious increase in the federal investment in housing services. Homeless initiatives will continue to receive our support in Tulsa, and Zero 2016 has been a tremendous opportunity to focus our efforts, and that's what we've done. But the agencies that make up A Way Home for Tulsa cannot do this work in a vacuum. It takes a collaborative effort to fight a problem as complex and difficult as homelessness. So it's important that all business and community leaders, nonprofit agencies, private philanthropy, and government officials at all levels work together to solve this problem. The efforts at Zero 2016 have been very successful in Tulsa, but the work is far from finished, as Jeff mentioned. We know that close to 77,000 Tulsans live below the poverty line. 80,000 are uninsured. Folks in this condition live on the edge with the potential for homelessness at any particular crisis. That means you'll likely see individuals continue to experience homelessness, but as Jeff said, we hope that it becomes rare, brief, and non-reoccurring. Nationwide, in the past 19 months, we've seen communities make huge strides, as we have, toward ending chronic and veteran homelessness. Over 60,000 chronic and veteran homelessness folks who are experiencing homelessness have been housed in that period of time. And in addition to that, the federal government is beginning to institutionalize the best practices that we're all learning by going through this effort. So therefore, Zero 2016 is extending beyond this year because our job is not done yet. And although it hasn't been named yet, we know that we're going to continue this effort and this focus for at least another year to try to build on the momentum that we've already experienced as a community and finish the job of ending chronic homelessness among the chronic homeless and veterans in our community. We've made so much progress. We have a long ways to go. Thanks.
So I just kind of get to do the final edge on this after two incredible speakers, amazing leadership from Jeff in this initiative, and to all of our philanthropists who are contributing to this, and Bill has been at the forefront of this effort with the foundation that he runs here in Tulsa. They are what are helping make this thing go forward, building the housing where we can put these veterans. So let's give a big thank you to them. And Jeff kind of referred to some of our folks that are here, and we are so delighted that everybody's here today. Mac Halton, if you would stand up. Linda Johnston. Mac works with Sandra Lewis at the Day Center for the Homeless. And then Linda Johnston is with Tulsa County Social Services. She runs the shelter and our pharmacy. Arletta Robinson with the Salvation Army. And then our own Rotarian, Steve Whitaker, John 3:16. These are the folks who are the boots on the ground. And they've been teaching us, those of us who from the outside trying to learn more about homelessness. They can guide us. They know all of the issues and have been great partners in this initiative. So it affects all of us. And, you know, you may not think it does, but when you see folks on the street, you probably are like, I think, how did they get here? What happened? Who are they? But those individuals have an impact. And if I'm talking from an individual perspective or from a government perspective, those are two different things because my heart just bleeds for them. But it does have an impact on government services. It drains healthcare services, social service agencies, city-county resources like the jail, police and law enforcement, the hours that it's required to deal with these individuals because we don't have primarily a lot of the problem is adequate mental health care for them. So our police officers are constantly dealing with a lot of these individuals and they'll end up in our jail. And again, all of these has economic impacts to our community. According to the U.S. Interagency on Homelessness, the average cost of shelter stays, emergency room visits, and incarceration can cost between $30,000 and $50,000 annually a person experiencing chronic homelessness. But helping homelessness, of course, it is not just about how our community looks to visitors and prospective businesses. It is an issue. But it is simply the right thing to do. And I know in all of your hearts, we all get it. But it is something we can accomplish together by working together. You know, it's hard to believe that Americans are one paycheck away from living on the street. There are so many who are in that situation. And of course, we have to be proud of what Tulsa has done with their approach to ending chronic and veteran homelessness. And I can't tell you how proud I am of the individuals who have invested so much time, money, effort, and just absolute passion. We cannot do this great work without community-wide support. We can't continue to criminalize homelessness nor tax our city and county resources. And we have got a solution with A Way Home for Tulsa. And that's why the Tulsa County Commission last year decided to endorse Zero 2016. We issued a proclamation to that effect. The City Council also endorsed the initiative. And our mayor and, of course, the mayor-elect have shown support for this initiative as well. But this isn't just an issue for nonprofits, philanthropists, and governments. It is a collective issue. We are also inviting business, community, and education leaders to show support for 2016 to end veteran and chronic homelessness. So how can we as Rotarians assist? I'm often asked about issues of panhandling and giving to people living on the streets. It's the first thing you want to do. Is there something I can do to help them? But it is far more effective for you to direct your dollars to the nonprofit organizations rather than contributing directly to any individual on the street. The panhandler who asks you for money may or may not be homeless. Oftentimes, he or she is not homeless at all. And this panhandler situation is not unique to Tulsa. There are many metro areas around the country that have these same challenges. But it is important today to differentiate panhandlers from individuals truly experiencing homelessness, because they are two very different groups. And Zero 2016 focuses on the homeless. Zero 2016 for Tulsa, we're not asking for funding, but all 21 organizations that make up A Way Home for Tulsa are in need of resources if you have them and would love to share. And you can learn more about this initiative by going to our website, 02016tulsa.com. And the two primary things that we are asking from the community is, number one, to care, and number two, to share information. We know that Tulsa cares about addressing this issue, but we are also very good at finding solutions. So when we share the information that you've learned today, we can all make a greater impact together. So now I would like to turn this back to our fearless leader, an amazing individual, and our chair of this initiative, Jeff Janes. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Karen for her leadership with the Zero 2016 efforts. We met with her and asked her to help us with that, and she has done a masterful job, and I appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Bill, and specifically to the Ann and Henry Zero Foundation, not just for the support with the public education efforts, but with your support in general for helping us find the solution. Thank you both very, very much. No community will be done until we are all done. When veterans and those who are Americans with serious health challenges no longer endure homelessness in our communities. We want homelessness, again, to be rare, brief, and non-recurring, and we can do that in Tulsa and around the country. Thank you to the Rotary Club. Thank you, John, for your leadership and for the members here. We will be available afterward for questions if you have any questions for any of the three of us or any of the fine agencies that are here today with A Way Home for Tulsa. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support.
Thank you again, Karen, Bill, and Jeff. They'll be up front along with the agency, so be sure and come forward and ask your questions and shake their hand for introducing this solution to us. We're very well of the problem. Book has been inscribed by all three of you for our Adopt a School, Celia Clinton. It will be donated to the library in your honor in lieu of a speaker gift, so thank you very much. I also would like to recognize today's volunteers that helped out with the meeting. Their names are on the screen here. Very integral part of what we're able to do, and thank you very much, volunteers. And now if I could have David Momper come up, we have a project announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Afternoon, Rotarians. Well, under Barney James' mentorship, I have accepted the Vocational Projects Committee Chair, so it's once again time for our Business Visitation Day planning. This year, our Business Visitation Day is October 12th. There are flyers on your tables. We really beg you for your participation again. If you've done it before, we'd like you to do it again. There's a lot more people that haven't seen your businesses. If you haven't seen Jim Dunn's Woodworks operation, you've got to see it. If you haven't been to Jerry's Riverfield School, you've got to see it. So those of you that have helped us in the past, please do it again. There's more of us to see your businesses. We need new hosts. If you've thought about doing it but just didn't do it, pull the trigger this year. Invite us to your business. We want to see you. And then Barney and I were discussing this, and you know, there's a large group of us that really don't have a business to show you. And I'm a real estate broker. If you want to come look at a big room full of messy real estate desks, come on out. But it's not really that sexy. So Barney and I are thinking about maybe a group of people that are real estate attorneys, real estate lenders, realtors, or people in the medical field or whatever, like businesses, or just people that kind of want to, kind of like your old Tips Club concept. So if you would like to get together in a group like that and discuss your business with some other like-minded people that's not necessarily visiting a certain place, we're going to try to put some groups like that together too. So please help us. Thank you.
You have flyers on your desk to sign up for that business visitation. I would encourage you to do it. I actually did it for the first time last year, and I had a blast. I had a bunch of Rotarians come and even had the district governor crash my party. And I was very humbled that they were interested in my business. And that's not something I expected. I was interested in the relational side of that. But they were genuinely interested in the business. So it's a great way to connect and collaborate, exchange ideas, maybe connect to the community and go out to a business that's not part of a Rotary Club. So we'd love to have you participate, and thank you very much. There's cards on your table also for Jerry Russell. Jerry is a longtime Rotarian. He's at home now, and he's continuing to recover from open heart surgery. He's got a long road to go if you've ever had that. It's been challenging, but we encourage you to write a note to Jerry and his family and encourage them with your prayers. So where are you going to be on October the 21st? Anybody know where they're going to be October? Is that Oktoberfest? We will actually have an announcement on that, and we will also be there, but on the 21st, I think, we're asking each of you especially to join Kathy and I at District Conference in Branson. So in spirit of Oktoberfest, that is also fall break, so your kids are out of school if you have them, your grandkids. My wife is not working, she's a school teacher. There's not an OU or an OSU home game, so we're kind of running out of reasons why you can't go with Kathy and I to Branson. So I'm encouraging you to really look at your invitation from Terry Paul Miller at the district and sign up for the district conference. We'll be engaging ways that we're going to connect into the conference with boothing and sponsoring some stuff. But just probably to embarrass me, how many have already signed up for district conference? Well, that's a great start. So Jan, Chuck, and Kathy are awesome folks. We already have a party. So see you there. So I have another question for you. Have you jotted, or do you have in your pocket or on your phone, a list of at least 5 individuals you know that you want to become Rotarians? Does anybody have that in their pocket? I've carried that list for probably 5 years. I've knocked some off, and they're here today. But it's a great way to start is to recognize and be intentional about, I really should go through my contact list and invite these people to Rotary as a guest, as I did Lucretia today, or as a member, or both. So I would ask you to do that, and we're going to build on that next week. So come up with your fabulous 5, and we'll play with that again. I'd like to call Kathy, or is that Catherine, back up. We're going to do our 50-50 drawing and then wrap it up.
Thank you, President John. For those of you, I think John did a great job in talking about why we raise money for foundation, but we're also trying to raise money this year for Rotary International. For those of you who love to do things locally, I do too, I'm with you. But remember, things that we do internationally also affect us locally. Think of eradicating polio. Does that affect us locally? Yes, it does. How about peace? Yes, that affects us locally. So let's raise money for a good cause. So we're going to draw today, and I'm going to let my friend Justin from Snocky Trimbo be my drawer.
Now, Catherine, how much money do we have now? Like $10,000 or?
Well, it's close.
Okay.
It's $629.
All right.
Which I think is pretty good.
That is good.
I think it really is. Okay, so does everybody have your tickets out? And just so you know, Bob always gives his tickets to one of the guests at our table. So if you want to sit at a hot table, sit at our table. Bob will probably give you tickets. So the number today is 247-561. Woohoo! Oh,
all right,
wow.
Mike. So once again, what Michael's going to do is draw a card. If he gets the joker, then he gets to split the pot. The proceeds will go to Rotary International, and he would even become possibly 300 points towards a Paul Harris Felt.
I know. Wouldn't that be nice? Now, it's kind of hard to fan these out, so you're going to have to just kind of pick one. Oh, it's a 5 of spades. But thank you for playing. Okay, we'll take this card out. Remember, the deck gets smaller and smaller every week, so bring lots of dollar bills next week. Thank you all.
Thank you, Catherine. We're about to get where that's going to be a whole lot of fun, because as the cards shrink and the pot gets bigger, the string of tickets you buy get longer. So thank you very much for participating. Our upcoming programs again are Russ Doden with Oxley, Rick Corey with KRMG, Ken Busby with Route 66 Driving Cool Cars. I encourage you to tell your friends and family and neighbors and your list of 5 about Rotary. Invite them to come connect with us in this community to do great things. We're adjourned.